How's everybody doing? Good. Really, the only thing I've really had to say to lead off is, the spring's been productive. Our guys have been just chipping away, getting better. Year two is a totally different animal than year one in a good way, as far as teaching and them understanding what's expected of them, and then really just taking the next step. Every position has different steps they need to take, and they've been working hard, and we're chipping away. I do see a lot of growth in different areas, areas that we need to focus on, and that we've been very successful with what we've had to work with, and but we got a long way to go. So we're cautiously excited about where we're at, and we got a long way to go, and ready to get to work tomorrow morning. We get another chance, so looking forward to that.
Hey, Tim.
Hey.
Hawkeye Beacon.
Yeah.
Having signed Bryce George now. Talk about
Yeah, can we? As long as we can.
Sure. Okay.
Then yes.
Yeah. I know he was a tight end out of high school. Did you offer him recruit?
I did. I'm from Detroit. Tight end, got hurt his senior year. Great athlete. George handles all the. It's just ironic that when his name came across the desk, I knew who he was, and I knew the family a little bit, and had a ton of success, obviously, at Ferris. And his offensive coordinator was one of my coaches in college. So called him immediately. He had nothing but great things to say about him and his family. So excited to get him into that competition up front.
So my question, I know he played right tackle at Ferris. Is the vision to move him over to left? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. There's a lot of competition up there. Obviously feel really good. A right tackle with what we got going, and we've been moving, kind of trying to move all with Lauk and Dotes, and obviously when he shows up, it's going to be a third amigo in that battle that they're doing. They're all getting better. It's funny that from day to day. Offensive linemen normally take a little bit longer. Watching the way Dotes is coming off the ball right now is different than last spring. It's been exciting to watch. Lauk, same way. He's an extremely talented athlete. He's got great feet. So it's been fun to watch those guys, and we've been really rotating them everywhere. And we'll probably do the same with Bryce. Until George really feels that he fits in somewhere. The left is obviously the biggest position we're working on, but there's a lot of different moving parts. George does an unbelievable job of moving people around. Guards playing tackle playing guards. Not worrying really about winning a drill in practice, but trying to continue to expand their growth as understanding the offense. I'm sure once we get into camp, we're going to start narrowing it down and getting people in the best place to help us.
David Eichel, 24/7 Sports. Tim, we got a chance to talk with Mark a couple weeks ago. It just seemed like he kind of oozes natural leadership and perspective. I guess, how have you seen him I know he's not obviously fully clear, but coming in kind of earn the respect of the offensive players, his teammates, and just sort of picking up the system. And then looking at the quarterback room as a whole, it's kind of crazy to think that's a completely revamped room, I guess, from the past.
Very different.
Talk about the depth of it and kind of how you guys are moving in the direction.
Yeah, so Mark's done a great job. He came into a building, obviously, where, Sully was very well respected, one of the leaders on our team, and did a great job of, those guys became friends, just the way they approach the business every single day, of being a pro and wanting to work in the weight room. You can earn a lot of respect as a quarterback in the weight room, and that's something Sully did, and Mark, really. And so he's done a great job. He hasn't been able to do much, I don't know. I think he's throwing a Nerf ball right now, something like that. I'd like to see him throw a real one eventually. But he's doing a lot. We have him back there taking mental reps, extremely intelligent. But I've been very impressed with just how he's acclimated himself to our team, not coming in with any kind of expectations other than to come in and compete. That was probably the most important question that I asked guys on the portal is, what are your expectations? My plan is for you to come in and compete. And some of them love that word and some of them don't. And if they don't, then you probably won't fit in very well here, because everyone's going to have to earn their spot. And so he's ready to do that. I'm excited to see him get out there when he can. But just talking football with him, you can tell he's played a lot of football. And he's seen a lot of coverages, he's seen a lot of blitzes, and he knows how to react well. And so that'll be fun to see it come to light when he's able to get out there.
Chad likes to go to my register. We talked to a bunch of receivers last week, and they seem to be pretty optimistic about how the passing game is elevated, even with different quarterbacks now. So I guess, what have you seen? We talked to you, I think, last mid-season maybe?
Yeah.
You're like, the passing game takes the longest.
It's taken a long time.
So where's it at now?
It's growing. I think the biggest difference is one, we're healthy. All our receivers are healthy. When I got here, I was very impressed with the wideout room. They were just young, you know. But when you know what you're doing, you run. You run. We are running right now, which is fun to watch. To watch Seth Anderson run and Weege run, like they're not thinking about what to do. They're thinking about how to run the route. And so there was a lot of thinking going on last year. There's not a lot of thinking going on. It's really just trying to press the issue, especially when you're trying to stretch the field vertically. The ability to run a route and not look back at 5 yards and don't look back for 20, you know. And Seth's done a really good job of that. Dayton's doing a good job of that. So it's been fun just because we're a faster team right now in the passing game because they're running faster. The plays haven't changed. They just have run them, enough times finally. So I think that's really helped us, with the quarterbacks because they're getting themselves more open. Obviously, the quarterbacks, the more open the receiver are, it's been really helpful to them to have the tight ends know what they're doing, the wideouts know what they're doing, and they're starting to learn coverage, which is a big part of this offense. I don't know how much it was before when we started teaching them coverage and why we motion and what information we pick up from the motions. They looked at me kind of funny when I first got here. Now they're starting to answer questions. I asked Dayton a question the other day in a unit meeting. He led off his answer with, "Well, I know it's man coverage because of the motion." And I stopped and clapped, and I was like, "That was a great start to this answer." The coverage now, so now you're going to run the route. And so they're starting to see things. So I think they're more comfortable with the system, and I'm excited with where they're at. We got a long way to go, but they're just more confident, and we're able to make nuances, adjustments really quick, and they can go out there on the next route. It's fixed. And so we're still a little short on routes sometimes because we get excited, and we get a lot of third down, red zone situations where there's a lot of little nuances that we got to get better at. But I've been very happy with their progression as we expected that to happen, and it's obviously shown with some more success.
John Steffi, Gazette.
Hey, John.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
With Mark, obviously, once he's out on the field, what can a quarterback of his skill set really unlock in terms of what you want to do schematically? And
Yeah.
any regrets back to your Western Michigan days of not offering him
Oh.
something to camp with you?
Well, we recruited him. I got to remember the year and how it went down, A lot of times when it comes to recruiting, especially at a MAC school, you offer like 10 dudes and hope to get one, so whoever commits first gets it. So just because you're happy to get one, So it's a different type of recruiting, Here we offer like one or two, and so there I was way more offers. So I probably should have offered him, no doubt, with his success he's had. I think the biggest thing when you have a quarterback that can consistently provide positive football plays, it's a big word, positive football plays, especially when you're calling it aggressively, where he can bail you out of, hey, this is a bad look, just check it down, get us a yard, throw it away for all I care. Just don't take a sack, don't throw a pick. And it's been fun. We've had him in the back. He's been taking more mental reps than anyone else. And we see it on the film. So I know exactly where he would have gone. So the receivers know it. They all watch what Mark would have done on that play, because he's pointing to where he would have gone. And 90% of the time, it's the same as the guy that's holding the ball. Now, back there's no pass rush. So he's really comfortable back there, standing up, hopping up and down. But it's been good for him just to get reps because there's a muscle memory to everything you do, right? So, he's doing all the fake handoffs to nobody, him and his imaginary team back there. But he's having a blast doing it. And when he actually gets out there and he has to bring all the motions and do all the movements, we're just trying to shorten the curve, really, so when he gets out there, we can start seeing a more comfortable version of a guy who's played, I don't even know how many games he's played, a lot. I know how much he's thrown for, which that has to be a lot of games. So he's very comfortable, and my job is to get him more comfortable so we can get him ready to compete in the fall.
Scott Zuckerman with The Athletic.
Hey, Scott.
You decided not to go on the road this year.
Yeah.
What was kind of your reasoning? What was Kurt's reasoning for that? And then how did that impact you this spring and what you were able to do to the offense and take it another step?
It was huge, to be honest with you. It was everything in the offseason is optional, But me being in my office when you had, Jimmy graduated high school early and came in, Hank was new, obviously Mark was new. And so I was in my office every morning, and I think one of them lifted at 6 and would roll in about 8:30, and we really didn't have anything to talk about other than what questions do you have, and we would just talk football, And for those 3 guys that literally just came here, even young Jimmy. I mean, he's swimming a little bit as he should be, but they're way further ahead because of the amount of hours we were able to spend. And they were all in different lifting groups. So like one was like 8 to 9:30 or whenever he left, and then Hank would roll in and he'd be there for a couple hours, and then Mark would roll in and he'd be there. It'd be 1 o'clock before I knew it. Um, and then the next day we do it again and again and all the way through Friday, and it happened for almost 2 months. So it was huge for us. I had a chance to sit and watch film with the offensive unit if they wanted to watch, and we got to kind of watch some cut ups as a whole. It's always great when the O line, hears what I'm telling the quarterback, and the wideouts hear what I'm telling the O line. I love asking offensive line, what's the coverage here, and Lojo's right 99% of the time, which I think presses everybody in the room. But just having them all in a room a couple times a week was big. You have to have enough knowledge that we think the guys help us, It's not my number one thing because we're in the middle of spring ball, so I'm really just focused on those guys. I do like our depth. I mean, obviously Jackson's played before. The young kids got a long way to go. We're gonna see kind of how they develop. But Hank's really taken to it. He's done a really good job. I'm excited to see Mark. It is ironic that none of them, other than Jackson, have ever played before. Here wearing the Tiger Hawk on their helmets. So, it's a challenge. I think the people around him help a lot. It's also rare to have a guy that's thrown for 10,000 yards in your room. So that's helpful. There's some good with it. There's some good with it, but it's a great room. Even Sully, we love Sully. I mean, it's a tight room, and I'm excited for him and his future. But it's a good group that kind of support each other because they're all kind of learning this thing together from the start. And it's way easier to learn when the people around you know what they're doing. When you turn the corner and there's 3 guys open, as opposed to everyone ran the wrong route. Because they blame the quarterback no matter what, right? If you take the ball and matriculate it down the field, you did a good job. If you don't, you stink. It's the way it works. And so with the guys around them playing well, it's really allowed those guys, I think, to have a little bit more confidence. And coach has done a great job of putting us in tough situations. And we're getting a lot of work done. We got a long way to go. But I'm happy where the room's at right now. If something comes along that we can add somebody else in there to add depth, we would do it in RP.
Last question, Scott. Yeah, one of your analysts, Billy, you worked with him in Western Michigan. He's in the NFL for a while.
Yep.
Taught tight end and O line wide zone.
Yep.
A lot of what he did. And Omar has experience in the Shanahan offense too. How they helped you kind of formulate your scheme going forward, or tweaking things on the field to help you really perfect what you want to do.
It has been fantastic to have some other people that can speak the language, right? We have a bunch of coaches that are returning that are doing a phenomenal job, and they're in year 2 and they understand it way more and have ideas. But then you bring in 2 guys that have been doing this for years. They have to learn some of the nuances that we had to change to get it to fit a college field and some of the timing. The speed of the receivers is a little different. So we've made some adjustments, but they picked it up. Even the interviews when they start, teaching our own protection to us, it's been really impressive to have them here. I always, like Matt and Green, but he would never hire a guy unless he could help keep him. Like you need ideas. We're gonna run the same plays a lot of ways, right? And finding more ways to run the same play and make it look different. The more ideas you can get, better. We talk about Warren same way. But those 2 guys, have a ton of experience in running this exact system. So they've come in with immediate ideas. Our guys that were here last year that I had to teach everything to tried my best to teach being an O-line coach and then be a tight end coach and kind of coach the coaches first. They're in year 2, and Billy obviously was a GA for me, and it was with the Jets with Mike Russell. He knows it forwards and backwards, and he's with the tight ends in that room. He sits in a room, but really he's here to help game plan and understand the system. So we've watched a lot of Jets film. We've watched a lot of Bears and Packers, and just try to find ways that can continually evolve our offense, right? So that we can run the same play, and Phil thinks it's different plays every single time we run, right? That's the goal. And so they brought more and more ideas to the table, which is huge. And so that part has been a lot of fun for me. It's just the beginning. We haven't really game planned, and not really game planning. We're just trying to find new ways to run the same plays so our guys get good at the techniques. But trying to make it look different to our defense every single time. So it's already been big. When we get to game planning, we see different fronts, and like, hey, when we saw this front, we put this front with this can, pull the film up, we watch it, we love it, it's in. That's the kind of stuff that's invaluable, you know. And you normally, with your game plan, you normally have a ton of guys with ideas. Last year was not so much that way, you know, and that's one of the major things we needed to get changed going forward. And having, you know, Billy and Warren start early and be a couple days ahead, and having obviously Omar with a ton of experience coaching running backs under Gessie, you know, with Bears, um, it should continue to help us. You know, our job as game planners is really simple. Like, we have to go out there and execute. My job is to hopefully help them get better leverage so their execution, you know, can be done easier. Right? That's the job. They still have to execute. We still got to get to the right depth. We got to throw a strike. But hopefully, whether it's disguise, whether it's they think it's a different play, the run play looks like a pass play. All our run plays should look like, you know, look exactly like a play pass. Sorry. Um, but you know, the more ideas we have that we can help our guys, hopefully make it a little bit easier to execute. You know, that's the main goal of a coach, with the shifts and the motions and the leverages, and so that's really what we're hoping it comes to fruition this fall. By having those here, it's been fun to have here. The room it's different. It's a fun room. The confidence of the guys that were here last year is totally different. So we're excited for being the coach. I'm talking about the coaching staff. It's been a fun group to be around. Spring's been good, and I'm excited to get into the fall and start game planning.